Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Elias, Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
I am Bernard Hauk.
And today we are playing Ys. We're on episode 2. We've decided to make Ys 1 into 3 episodes because there's a lot. Surprisingly.
I mean, 3 episodes still isn't a lot.
No, but for a game that's this short, it's still like...
Yeah, it is.
There's a decent amount.
Yeah, I think the thing is that, and I'll talk about this more later, but a whole lot of this game is purely optional. So I think if you just play through it, it would definitely be something that could fit into like 2 episodes. But since we're like using a guide to make sure we get not everything, but most of the story content, yeah.
And it's not like it's one of those games where 100%ing it takes a million years so we don't do it. It's like, no, in this case we should because it's not that much anyway.
Yeah, and that's where most of the story is.
Yep.
So, before we get into that too much, how's everybody's week?
What about you, Nard? Oh, you've had some house trubs, right?
Oh, I have had so many house trubs. Had to get a leak fixed in a shower, and had to, what else?
Did calling
Not just house
Did calling the plumber lead to any sexual situations?
No, he was very cute, though. Like, I was actually very attracted to the plumber. Anyway. Yeah, I've just had lots of, like, weird adult problems, like, a leak in my house and my car battery dying and stuff. But, last night I was feeling very masked in a very femme way because I managed to deconstruct the toilet in my master bathroom, and I was like, hell yeah, deconstruction, but I was doing that so I could add a bidet. It was very hard, but I did it.
No, you were just being masked in a French way.
Yeah,
Yes.
There you go.
That's all I've been up to. I'm still learning Japanese. I'm almost on a 30-day streak of studying every day.
That's fucking
Nice.
great.
I need to get back to that.
I don't.
Well, fine then. How about you, Maddie? How's your week been?
I don't even fucking know what I even fucking do this week. Oh yeah, well it's been 2 weeks since I've seen y'all last, and in those 2 weeks, I went on a whole ass trip to the beautiful town of Tempe, Arizona. It's not a beautiful town; it's Arizona, and there's nothing. It's just an entire town made out of a strip mall.
The countryside of Arizona is beautiful.
Oh, it's an absolutely gorgeous state. But the parts where there's cities, not so much. And anyway, I didn't even go to Phoenix, which is nearby. Anyway, I was there to visit my girlfriend, Kali, and she's great. And we had a fucking great time. And I went thrifting and got some new duds, and some new fits. And we ate at places, wonderful restaurants, such as Arby's and Al's Pizza. The pizza place is actually really good. It was actually quite funny. We ordered the pizza online from, I believe, Sal's Pizza, which is funny to me because Sal is the name of the pizza guy in the film Do the Right Thing. So we order from Sal's Pizza, and then we go to get it, and Kali has this thing where even though she, lives there and has lived there for a fucking while, like many years, she just, like, every single time we drove anywhere, she would, like, go the wrong way and make a wrong turn and be like, this isn't where I thought there was a McDonald's here. And then we look it up and she's like, oh, no, McDonald's is, like, 5 blocks away. And I'm like, you live here. Anyway.
It sounds like me.
We go to the pizza place and she's like, there it is. I'm just going to pull up to the curb. Go ahead and get out. And I get out and I go to the pizza place and I'm like, hey, we're here to pick up an order for Kali or maybe for Maddie or whatever. And they're like, we don't have that. They're like, what was on the order? And I was like, I don't remember the whole order, but I know it had salami on it. And they were like, we don't even do salami at this restaurant. And I was like,
where the hell am I?
And then what I did was I turned around, and they're like, do you want to put in an order? And I was like, no, we already made an order. Like, what the fuck? So I turn around and I look at the entrance to the store, and I see the name of the restaurant, and it's a different pizza place. Kali just drove me to a different pizza place and was like, we're here. So I just I don't tell the guy this is what happened. I just, like, leave because it's embarrassing. So I just walk. I'm like, okay, bye. No, actually, I think I said something like, I got to go talk to my girlfriend to resolve this situation, right? So I go out there and I'm like, Kali, we need to go to the other pizza place, you utter fool. This is like Moe's or something. Anyway, it was a stupid time. We're both fucking stupid. So we just had the whole nice, like, 5 days of just being complete dipshits. And having a really good, relaxing time with each other. And other than that, nah, it's all good.
Good. I took a week off of work because I just wanted to do nothing for a week.
Hell yeah.
And that's essentially what I did. I got a lot accomplished in Final Fantasy XIV, but I would quantify that as practically nothing in the grand scheme of things.
Isn't it wild how much more gratifying fake accomplishments are than real accomplishments?
Yeah. Yeah, the fake accomplishments have been great. Like, I bought a house on my other server that I play on.
Damn.
And yeah, so I've got 2 characters with houses now, which is really exciting.
I don't even have one character with a house, namely myself.
Or one character. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess technically I have 3 characters with a house now because I, in real life, own a house. But yeah, so I spent the week working on that and doing a lot of role-playing, which has been incredibly fun and gratifying. Like, that's a good time just hanging out with my friends and pretending to be cat boys and dragon boys.
It's very good.
Yes. So, that's pretty much it for me.
Oh, yeah.
That reminds me, one thing I've been doing the past couple of weeks is I've been playing The Sims 4 a lot.
Oh, I love The Sims 4.
They made The Sims 4, like, I have The Sims 4 on PC, but I, like, don't really play it. But they made The Sims 4 available on PlayStation Plus, and I was like, I'm interested to see how this translates to a console experience. And it works really well, and there's trophies. And
no, you didn't tell me this. I didn't realize this is why there's the problem.
Yeah, and so
Yeah, you're gonna be in Sims hell for a while.
Because of our staffing situation at work, I've had to work from home 2 days a week for the past few weeks. And I've just been like, I have my work computer set up at my desk, and I just turn my desk chair around and play The Sims 4 on the TV across the room in between calls and stuff. And from that distance, the text is a bit too small to read. But I've just been doing that like my entire shift between calls.
Nice. So yeah, I guess let's talk about this game.
Wait, let's listen to a piece of music first.
Oh,
Let's
yes.
not.
Okay.
Okay, fine, we can listen to some music. Okay.
Good job, Coach.
You did it.
Okay, so after we drop off Fina with Jebba, we can go all the way back to Port Barbado and tell Slav about our adventures. And he's like, whoa, holy shit, you're cool. Let me go into this locked building and get you a sword called a Talwar. It's the 3rd level sword. It's it costs a lot of money at the store in Minea, but you can have it free.
That's cool. In my game, you just buy it.
Yeah.
It does cost a lot of money.
So, when you return to Zepik and visit Jebba's house again, which you don't have to go all the way back to Port Barbados, you can just leave Zepik and come back in, we find that Fina is awake. She's feeling better, but can't remember anything from before her imprisonment. Jebba says she's going to keep looking after her, so it's time to go back to the shrine. And in the shrine, we find an ivory key, silver shield, which is the 4th level of shield and one of the many silver things that has gone missing, and a marble key, which sounds really impractical.
Yeah. I don't know how you would manage that.
We have to use the Mask of Eyes to find a secret passage in order to get the marble key. It's not really a secret passage. If you look closely, you can see the outline of a door, and you just put the mask on and you go through that.
Oh, you children.
I imagine it's different on the Master System.
In mine, you don't get any kind of outline. You just say, "Hey, I wonder if there's a hidden door in this floor," and you put on the mask, and you're like, "Nope. Let's try a different floor." It's not as huge of a pain in the ass as you think, because there's actually only like 3 or 4 floors, and once you've actually explored it fully, by that point you're leveled up a little bit. So, once you fully explored everything without finding a secret door, you're like, okay, well, there's got to be a secret door here somewhere, right? And then it's not too bad. The enemies aren't too dangerous because, they're invisible when the Mask of Eyes is on. Also, sometimes you just kind of have a hunch. You're like, this is a weird dead end. I'm going to see if there's a door here. I actually enjoyed it a lot. It wasn't nearly as annoying as it could have been, and as I've seen other games that have similar sort of mechanics do. It does take a while to change. It's kind of like the what do you call them? The fucking metal boots in Ocarina of Time before they did the remake, where you had to like go into a goddamn menu every time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that kind of obnoxiousness, but you're not doing it nearly as often. You're doing it maybe a half dozen times before you find what you want, right? I also really like how the game doesn't give you any kind of heads up. They don't even have an NPC be like, well, gosh, we don't know how to progress. Maybe we should use the Mask of Eyes. It's just like, hey, you know that item you got earlier? Just fucking use it, bitch. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Anyway, I wanted to share that. Go on, please.
It's a very old game.
Yes, it is.
So at the bottom of the shrine, we unlock some doors with the keys that we just found, and we find the second boss. And, oh no, the first boss was so hard, the second boss is surely going to be even harder. It's not. It's fucking easy.
Which one is this?
Is this the snake boss?
Yeah, it's like this really long centipede that
This boss is a
goes
little
around.
bitch.
I don't know. For me, it was really easy
No, a little
because,
bitch, like he's easy as shit.
Yes.
There's two different definitions for bitch in that context,
Well,
and they mean the opposite thing.
I thought y'all would infer via tone, but I guess I didn't do good tone. Sorry.
I don't know. But yeah, it's this really long centipede thing, and if you hit any part of its body except its head, it takes damage. But if you hit its head, you take damage. But just statistically, when you hit it, you're probably going to hit its long body.
Wait, can you even walk through its body and stuff and not get hurt?
Its body doesn't hurt you.
Wow. Of course, I was trying to graze it like the way you normally do in this game. But I killed him so quickly I didn't even notice that what you just said is the case. Wow.
Yeah, so it's really easy. So you just run in circles and try to hit it as it passes you. After the battle, we find the first book of Ys.
Finally.
And we take it back to Jebba, and she's like, cool, show it to Sarah. And we're like, oh, okay. Forgot about her. When you go to Sarah's house, an old man named Old Man Franz is there instead, and he tells you Sarah was murdered by an unknown person, which is dark.
She died.
Yeah.
I feel like it's obvious who murdered her, but That might just be me.
Sephiroth, probably.
The
Yeah.
only thing approaching a villain this game has the mysterious masked Sephiroth man. We don't know if he's a mook or a main guy, but he's the only villain. So
Yeah.
So, Old Man Franz gives you a Book of East that Sarah had told him to give you, and with her dying breath, she said, "It'll abandon mine at Raston," in that voice.
Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra.
So, but before going to the mine, we're going to do a whole bunch of other bullshit. So we go tell Jebba the sad news, and she says she and Sarah both had premonitions that this would happen, and asks you to carry out Sarah's final wish and find the Books of Ys. She also tells you that Ys was ruled by 2 goddesses and 6 priests. Maddie, I believe you mentioned last episode that there were 6 sages or priests or something.
Yeah, so similar. I just found this out earlier than you did. Nice.
Yeah, so she says that Jebba and Sarah are descendants of one of the priests. Fina is still doing well, chilling by the lake. You get this, like, fancy scene with this close-up of her and special music, but all she says is, "I'm doing good. This is a nice town. I'm happy here." I'm like, that's
Cool,
it?
good talk.
She enjoying her sec by the lake.
What?
That meme with the corgi?
Yes, but you said her sex.
No,
by the lake.
her sec. In that meme, there's a typo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, she wasn't having sex. No.
No, it isn't that. Sorry, the L in myself is replaced with a K in the meme, so it's I enjoy my sec by the lake. It's only
Okay,
sex
sorry.
if it's ancient English. If it's ancient English where it says an F and you make the S sound for some reason.
Anyway,
Moving on.
so if we speak to Jebba again, she mentions that one of the villagers heard a voice on the plains, and you can actually find the villager. She's hard to find because she's like behind a building, but she says that she says that she heard the voice on the plains. Jebba suspects it's one of the rhoda trees that the guy in the tavern mentioned last time. Apparently, people used to speak with the trees by eating their seeds, and Adel could talk to the trees if he ate a seed.
Yep.
Okay. If you go and speak to Goban, because why wouldn't you at this juncture? Goban being the leader of the thieves, he says that some are blaming the thieves for Sarah's death, but they would never do that because they're honorable thieves, and Sarah was his cousin.
Oh.
He suspects Sephiroth killed her, and he wants revenge. Now, we're finally going to the mine. You find lots of scary enemies here. They're very gross looking, at least with the graphics version of the game.
Is the mine dark for y'all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very.
In my game, it definitely is very, like, you have a pretty fucking small circle of light around you, and it makes this whole place very difficult to navigate.
Oh, yes. And I'm already bad at navigating anything. So you find lots of scary enemies here, along with the silver armor, a timer ring, which slows down enemies, a heal ring, which lets you heal in dungeons, though it should be noted that all these rings do not work during boss battles. So
I
boss battles
hollered
are
when I
still
got
hard.
that when I got that heal ring though, because this dungeon is deep, right? So like,
Yes.
you're like conserving your fucking healing herbs and shit until you find that thing, and then you're like, oh my god, I'm self-sustaining now.
Mm-hmm. You also find the silver harmonica that Rhea lost, and a rhoda tree seed. That's convenient. You eat the
look at
seed.
that.
It tastes good. The end. It does have some flavor text, like you feel a shudder down your spine or something ominous for some reason. But anyway, the rest of the dungeon is too hard, so it's time to do side quests and get experience points. We return the harmonica to Rhea, and she plays a pretty song, which is like the main theme of the game, I think. And during the song, we see a vision of a rhoda tree. So we should probably go check that out. But if we give her the scrap of paper, which we may have found in a random chest in the middle of the plains earlier, she will play another song after we leave. And
Cool.
apparently it's a poem she wrote long ago. So yeah, after we leave, the camera pans back and she plays again, and we see the poem. I like to imagine that she's somehow singing the poem while playing the harmonica. And she says something along the lines of, "Fina, the wheel of fate is turning. If I alone could awaken to destiny, I wish the dream could continue for you forever." She says something like that. I forgot to say exactly what, but she knows Fina. They're obviously the two goddesses or something.
Oh.
Maybe not, obviously.
Well, to be fair, I didn't get a lot of this information.
Okay. So since you saw the Rota tree in the vision, and you should be able to talk to them now because you ate the nut, it's time to talk to trees. So you go to... There are 2 Rota trees in the plains. If you go to the northwest one, it's like, oh, holy shit, you can hear me. I'm one of the twin trees born of the goddesses in the times of Ys, and a melody awoke the forest. Go see my brother tree. He has a sword for you. So the southeastern tree says that darkness once again threatens Ys. He says our journey begins now, even though we're like halfway through the game, and he gives us a silver sword. So now we have all the silver equipment. Which I think there's one level of equipment above the silver equipment, but you don't get that until like you're in the tower, I think.
It's
if
true.
I recall correctly. So now we go back to the mine with our new equipment. You find the Darm key, which does not unlock the Tower of Darm. It unlocks a door in this dungeon.
Okay.
So we go down to the bottom of the dungeon and we find the door to the boss. We use the Darm key to open the door to the boss. And at this point, I'm at the level cap. And so I can't grind. And I have the best equipment available. So it's like, if I can't beat this boss, I just have to get good. And I think that's interesting that you reach the level cap before even getting to the lengthy final dungeon of the game if you're doing all the side quests and stuff.
Decision. How did you find this boss?
The boss wasn't too bad. It was a little annoying. The boss is a Batman. He's more of a man bat, and he turns into a bunch of bats, and the bats fly around, and touching any one of them can hurt you. And you just have to wait until he reforms back into a Batman man-bat, and then you run into him to hurt him. The problem is, you have like a fucking frame during which you can actually hit him.
Yep.
He's so hard to hit.
This boss reminds me a lot of the Mega Man boss, Yellow Devil, which shouldn't be named that, but whatever. From Mega Man 1. You remember that one? The famous one that's a pain in the ass?
Yes.
It's not quite as hard, although that one's not as hard as people say. But yeah, because, okay, so here's the thing. So the bats fly around like randomly, right? The tough part is when the bats reform, because the bats have to coalesce to reform. And you don't want them to reform too far away from you, because then you can't get over there to hit him, but too close, and they'll get you while they're coalescing, right? So yeah, you gotta like play this distance game. Also, I don't know about you, but for me, there was a very specific part where you're supposed to hit him when he actually did reform. It was very easy to go too high and just hurt yourself. Yeah, it took me a good bit of practice to get this guy. Although I did get like notably better each time. You know, it was like first time I got owned. Second time I was like, I'm kind of figuring it out. And by like the fourth time I was like, fuck, I got this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it took me less than 5 tries.
Yeah, it was a fucking fun boss, IMO. Also, I like how the boss, like, he doesn't hurt you that much, and you don't hurt him that much, so it's a pretty long battle, and you're seeing, like, the tug-of-war between your health bar and his health bar.
Uh-huh. So, after beating the Batman, you get the 3rd Book of Ys, and you can explore a small room adjacent to the boss area. It has 2 large pedestals and a locked door. And you might remember that in Zepic, one of the old men says that one time back in his mining days, he happened upon this room that had 2 statues of the goddesses in it, and they were beautiful, but then something happened. I forget what.
I think nothing. I think he was just like, we saw them.
Yeah. And there's also a big locked door that you can't open. And so you go back. And you're supposed to buy a fucking wing from Pym that lets you warp back to Minea and not have to go through the whole fucking dungeon again. But I never remember to buy a wing from Pym, so I have to go through the whole fucking dungeon. And it's not even like I'm grinding to get cool shit while I'm doing so, because I'm already at the level cap and there's nothing cool I can buy anymore.
Well,
so
you know, it's one cool thing you could have bought.
What?
A wing.
That's true.
A wing wouldn't do me any good after this point. So anyway, we go back to Jebba, and if we ask her to read the 3 books we've acquired so far, and I actually have screenshots of what the books say if we want to read those for the exposition. So let me pull those up. There's lots of Final Fantasy and Drill screenshots in my photos.
Yes, because you were doing a bit.
I was doing a bit. So the first volume says, long ago, Claria was created in Ys. It was displayed in the Temple of Solomon as a monument to prosperity. But suddenly disaster struck. In the shadow of that prosperity, evil had grown and brought with it the seeds of suffering. It struck with all-consuming fury, and in the wake of its demon hordes, even the fair land of Celceta became as ash. But even if all were to be wiped away, the prosperous and the suffering alike, the twin trees and twin moons would forever watch over this land. The second volume says, Ys was healed by 2 goddesses and 6 priests. The goddesses embody the spirit of our land and inspire our lives. One represents order, and the other freedom. If we were ever to lose them, all our struggles and achievements would come to naught, and we would never again know peace. We must not lose the goddesses, regardless of the cost, even unto eternity's shadow. And the third volume says, I speak now of the disaster of Ys. He rose suddenly and attacked our cities. He called forth molten stone from the bowels of the world to burn our fields and trap us in a sea of fire. It was terrible and absolute. One by one, our proud nations were blown out like candles, and darkness and chaos stole over our world. Surely the Claria was the cause. Was it not the harbinger of darkness? Thus we sealed it within the darkness in the ground, so that hope may shine anew. Forget it not, and never lay hands upon it again.
That's cool.
Is it?
I don't understand most of it. It's also really, really, really different from mine. I forgot to take a screenshot of mine, but I will in the future because I would definitely will want to read them for you because, yeah, it's a lot different.
You should probably still be able to have Jibba read them, I think.
No, I can't because of reasons.
Oh, yeah. I guess so. Anyway, so after you have her read the books, Jibba tells you that the last 3 are in Darm Tower, a.k.a. the Devil's Tower, which sounds like a bad tower. She says her son Goban will let you in because the thieves' hideout was built right in front of the entrance to the tower. Goban says that since the storm wall appeared, the tower's been crawling with jerks, and the thieves tried to fight them off, but had to fall back. His right-hand man, Dogi, was trapped in the tower.
Poor old Dogi.
Yeah, Dogi. He says that the tower is extremely dangerous, but since you've mastered the silver equipment, he'll let you in. The door can only be opened from the outside. Goban says he'll open it once after 1 day, so you had best be back with or without the books of Ys. And you go into the tower, And that's where we save for the week because, honestly, I thought we had more to cover. I thought this was going to take longer, but we're at 30 minutes.
I told you it wasn't that much.
I don't know. My notes looked long, okay?
Although I will say, I'm clicking through a playthrough right now, and fun fact, this long play is about 4 hours long, and yeah, they go into the tower in about 2.5.
Yeah, I remember the Tower of Darm taking a very long time.
The Tower of Darm takes a very long time. So I'm most of the way through it actually, because I was saying we should just play the whole rest of the game, and then Bernard was like, no, we shouldn't, and I still think Bernard made the right call because the tower is fucking long.
Yeah.
Once you go through the tower, it is a point of no return, which is why I can't go back and read the books. Now you do get 3 more books, so what's going on there? I don't know. Maybe you find Jebba again in the tower or some shit like that.
I assume there's going to be a chance to read the books again because you're getting 3 of the books, and like Jebba's the only one who can read them, so you want to be able to read them.
Yes, exactly. And I have gotten 5 of the books now out of the 6 and have not been able to read them. My dude's just like, I can't read. Well, what if they're not written in an ancient script? You're just illiterate. Aaron is a himbo icon.
He's 19, and he never learned how to fucking read.
I love him, and he fights enemies by bumping into them repeatedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's where we fucking stop. And I'm trying to find what my books say, but I'll find it out next week.
Okay. So, memorable moments. Does anyone have any?
Eli, you go first.
Oh, I didn't really have anything that struck me as particularly memorable, and I'm sorry.
I actually have a shit ton from after we go into the tower.
Well, shit.
But before we go into the tower, I've got a couple. Let me take a look.
My cat wandered in here and she's meowing, so you might hear that, folks.
One thing I really like.
Kitty.
This game does some very dramatic things visually, and I really like it. Obviously, my game has different graphics than y'all's, but I bet it's probably similar. For example, when you're in the cave is very, very organic. It's like reds and browns, and all the walls are wobbly everywhere, right? It's very organic and dark. And then you go through a random door at the very bottom. You've been going for ages, and you finally find this door, and you go through it, and you are in a room that looks completely different. And it's the boss room, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at it right now, and it's like light bluish gray, and it's like a perfect rectangle with like brick, and it just looks like you're in a tower or a shrine or a castle, and that was going through the door of this super organic cave. And it's just super dramatic. I really like it makes an immediate impression on you even before you realize, oh, this is the boss room, right? In fact, I didn't realize it was a boss room, even though I obviously should have. It was relatively obvious. Big empty room with a chest that obviously when I try to get the chest, the boss is going to open. Whatever. So I liked that a lot. There's a few more really interesting visual things from later. I really like in retrospect the difference between my game and your game, because my game basically does follow the same plot. There's just way fewer hints. All I knew, like, y'all got so many different hints pointing you towards this, the Rhoda tree and the fruit. For me, all I knew was the guy in the bar was like, I sure could go for a Rhoda tree fruit right now. And someone else was like, there's a Rhoda tree. And I saw the big trees in the field. I was like, this is obviously the Rhoda tree, but nothing happens, right? And then I get to the dungeon, or get to the bottom of the mine, and I get the rotary fruit. Oh, and FYI, in this game, you don't use items in my version of the game, or like you use like potions and stuff, right? But so there's the equipment screen, and then there's the item screen, and the item screen is non-interactive. It just shows you what items you have. So I just got the rotary fruit. I didn't have to like click on it to eat it or anything. I just have acquired it into my inventory, and I'm like, all right. So I go back to the guy in the bar, and he has nothing to say. And then I'm walking around. I walk around the rotary, just bumping around, and all of a sudden the rotary's like, "Hi, you can talk to me." I'm just like, okay, I guess I can do that. And at first I was like, maybe I could have talked to him all along. I just like missed the hitbox for it. Then I was like, no, it's probably because I found that fruit at the bottom of the mine. I guess acquiring a fruit allows you to talk to a tree. Everyone knows that.
Oh yeah, makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense.
That's how it happened in Pocahontas.
Yes. The tree, when I talk to the tree, it's not that interesting of a dialogue at first. I don't even know why I screenshotted it, but now I realize it is. The tree says, "The world is full of torment. The age of East has returned. Brave warrior, now is the time to begin thy quest." Which, first of all, yeah, kind of funny. Not the beginning of my quest. Second of all, the age of East has returned. See, until Bernard read all that lore, I didn't realize. Kind of interesting. Apparently, East is the bad guy?
Oh.
Well, like from what you just read, right? East was like the monster that made lava happen everywhere. Yeah. And now I'm seeing this tree saying the age of East has returned. So, yeah, maybe it means, or maybe it's more abstract. It means like Ragnarok or something like that. But yeah. So yeah, basically just like take out all the connective tissue on the quests and make it way more like a Phantasy Star 1 style game where you're just kind of bumping around and seeing what happens, and that's kind of where I'm at. But then the same plot ends up happening. You just find out about what it is after it happens. Let's see. Fina. Nope, Fina didn't say anything new to me. I think I had one or two more. Let's see.
One funny thing about the rotary is that if you go up to a rotary in the Chronicles version before you eat the rotary fruit, if you bump into the tree, you get a special like little scene where it goes into an anime picture and it like pans up and it shows Adel looking at the tree and it plays this musical sting. But like nothing happens. So it's just like Adel is like, "Whoa, holy shit, this tree is huge.
It's a fucking tree.
Oh my god."
I kind of love that.
Yeah.
Also, that does let you know that like it's important, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I also really appreciate what Bernard said, that the final dungeon, as far as game time, it's not like half the game. It's not like half the game because you have like quests and stuff. But as far as like time spent in dungeon, the final tower is half of the fucking game, or more significantly as far as like the number of floors it has and the floor space. I think it's really fucking cool that you get all the best equipment, as far as you know, and max level before entering the dungeon.
It's very weird to me because this is from an era where like I guess maybe it was originally very hard. Is your version particularly hard, Maddie?
It's really not. That's one thing that I'm so surprised about, right? Because usually they make older games, they make them more streamlined, and also they lower the difficulty when they remake them. But
right, that's why there's such a thing as Nintendo hard, because the old school Nintendo games would inflate their playtime by making them practically impossible.
Yeah, no, this game is quite reasonable. From what I'm hearing Bernard say, it sounds like it's pretty similar difficulty levels. I do think that the amount of experience needed to reach the next levels and stuff is more in my game, but it still doesn't really take that long. And the combat's probably a little clunkier, but not really. And yeah, when you get to the final dungeon, you don't gotta worry about leveling up or nothing. And if you want to avoid the enemy instead of fighting them, you just can. There's no reason to fight them. Except sometimes they're in the way, because the final dungeon has a lot of like tight hallways. I'll talk more about why I love the final dungeon next week, because we'll be actually discussing the final dungeon. But yeah, I was just so surprised when I realized to beat that boss, the vampire, I had to be at max level with all the special equipment. I was like, neat little. It's also a nice little gating mechanism. It's like, okay, you have to be all the way prepared before we let you in to the end of the game, right? That way you can handle it.
And here at the end of the game, it's just going to be an action game now.
Yeah, it just turned into an action game at the end instead of being an RPG, and I think that's cool as shit. And that also means it's okay that the final dungeon is a point of no return because there's no reason you need to go back, although there are some side quests that I think I may not have done like one of them, which is a shame.
But you wouldn't get anything that would make it easier.
Exactly. You wouldn't get anything that would make it easier anyway. I did give Rhea back her harmonica, and yeah, she didn't say any of the stuff you just talked about. She was just like, thanks for my harmonica, now I will play you the song of my people. She doesn't actually say that. She just says, I'm going to play you a song, and it's a really, really lovely song. And she just plays it, and you listen, and then you hit OK, and then you walk away. So as far as I know, she was just some lady that had a harmonica.
So in Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, one of the main characters, I've played that game like for an hour. And in it, one of the main characters also plays a harmonica, so I think Falcom just likes harmonicas.
Harmonicas are fucking great instruments.
Yeah, they're cool.
Although
Mouth organs.
Musical chiptune style, she's like, I'm going to play this song on the harmonica. And then you hear this chiptune and you're like, that's not how harmonicas work. The way the song is written is not something that anyone would ever be able to play on a harmonica because the notes are doing things that's not what it does. Oh well.
I don't know enough about harmonicas to dispute anything she plays.
Yes. Well, it's just a normal chiptune song, right? And obviously harmonicas are very strange instruments. But it could be like, no, this is a non-diegetic chiptune representation of the song that she is beautifully playing, which makes sense to me. So there you go. There you fucking go. What about you, Nar? What do you got?
My memorable moment is just the overall structure of the game. I love how much of this game is optional, and of course I can't speak to exactly how much is there in the original version, but
like 80% of what you talked about was in my version, usually just with less talking.
Yeah, so what I think is really cool is that you can do things in, like, weird orders. Like, you can go to the mine and, like, do everything in the mine, like, first thing, if you want to grind enough to make that happen. And I think because of that, I think this would be actually a good game to be the one game you have in the 80s for a while. Because you can just play it a bunch and be like, what if I go here first? What if after doing this, what if I go and talk to Jebba and see if she has something to say? What if I go and talk to Goban and find out if he has something to say? He probably doesn't, but maybe he does. Oh, he is Fina's cousin, or Sarah's cousin, and thinks Sephiroth murdered her. That's interesting.
That is really cool. And I'll say, my experience is kind of similar because I'm not using a guide. I'm not like 100% opposed to a guide. I just haven't strongly needed one, so I was like, I'm not going to use one. And fun fact, last week, every single time I got stuck, every single time I didn't know what to do, I went to the fucking mine. Mm-hmm. Because when you fight the mine enemies, they ping off of you. So, but I don't know what their level cap is. So every time I gain like one level, I'd be like, I wonder if I can handle the mine now. And at one point, I did just play stealth mode and avoid enemies and go through like 3 floors of mine last week. And I got a lot of those items way early in the game just because I didn't know what else to fucking do because I was stuck. And that was cool as shit. Also terrifying.
Mm-hmm. And also, I mean, like, you could be going through the game trying to, like, think, well, maybe I'll go here at this point, see if I can do something, see if I can get some unique writing. Or you could just be like, I want to see how fast I can get through this game. Figure out, like, what exactly is optional and what's the optimal way to get through. Not exactly speed running, but doing something sort of adjacent to that.
Yeah.
And,
I know for a fact that next week there's an interesting little puzzle thing where you, like, talk to a guy and the guy gives you, like, some clues about what to do. But, of course, if you can just do it without talking to the guy, right? And then I think, like, the whole way it plays out is different if you just go fucking do it.
Mm-hmm. Again, the NPC dialogue is really good. However, since you don't like go into any new towns, most of the NPC dialogue, apart from the major characters, is the same. There are instances of NPCs having new dialogue based on things that have happened, which apparently that's sort of a Falcom thing. The Legend of Heroes games are sort of infamous for every time literally anything happens, every town person has new shit to say to you.
I love that. I love when games do that.
Yeah.
Also,
cool.
I just had a fun idea, y'all. If next week ends up also being really short, which it probably will be, because it's actually quite interesting, because, again, I've played most of it. A lot of it's really, really cool shit that we're going to want to talk about, but it's still not a ton. It's still just one big dungeon. I'm looking at speedruns, and the fastest speedrun of the version of the game y'all are playing is 38 minutes and 25 seconds. Anyway, I was thinking maybe I'll watch the speedrun after beating the game and see if there's anything interesting. Something like what you're saying, to elaborate on what you're saying, like cool skips, cool structural things. Yeah, just as like fun trivia.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. So I think I might watch that later today. Or no, after I beat the game, which will probably be later today.
Yeah. I mean, we're at 46 minutes, so that's probably a decent length. It'll be a little longer after I add music and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
no problem.
I just feel like the second half of this game is an awkward length. Because it probably would have been a bit too much if we had gone to the end of the game.
Yeah, no, it would have been. There's, I think, I wasn't counting myself, but I think Sam told us that there's 4 bosses. Although I feel like I've already fought 4 bosses, so who fucking knows? It is an entire goddamn video game.
Mm-hmm. And
so good luck to Bernard playing that. Although one thing is, since you can't level up, you never have to worry about being under-leveled, so everything's actually at a very nice difficulty.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't think we could have gone farther last week, because last week we had a lot to talk about, and we ended up with a good length episode last week. So you get a short episode this week. Get over it.
Fine. Sometimes they get a short episode. It's fucking fine. I mean, people probably don't want to listen to us for any longer than they have to.
Probably not.
I know I sure don't. I don't much care for this podcast.
Yeah, this podcast fucking sucks. That reminds me of on my Twitter profile, I'm like, go listen to RPG Book Club. Go don't listen to Have You Played Resident Evil. I link it, but I say don't listen to it.
Probably everyone who listens to Have You Played Resident Evil listens to this podcast primarily, so maybe we should say probably not going to be a lot of episodes of Have You Played Resident Evil in the near future, because I am recording on this instead, and I'm also editing this. So
yeah. Also,
yeah.
I am putting in like a 20-hour week down at the old Socialism Factory, which is to say that I'm doing lots of canvassing this week because Super Tuesday is in a week and one day, and that's the priority for me. So yeah, I'm not going to be doing anything but that.
Maybe we'll have to have a post Super Tuesday episode though, where we just scream for a while.
Oh Christ, we're going to be screaming one way or the other.
Yep.
Great. Sounds like fun.
Although we said after Iowa we'd be screaming one way or the other, and we ended up screaming in a third way we did not expect.
Yeah, that's the thing about 2020. That's the thing about the politics, but also just the world we live in. You always know something stupid's going to happen, but then it's always something even stupider than you could have possibly imagined.
Oh, yes. Anyway, so who's going to sign us off this week?
Eli, you do it.
Okay. I always forget what to say. If you like what you heard, you can check us out at rpgbook.club. We have all of our important links there. Our Discord, our Twitter is at rpgbookclub. Our email is rpgbookclub@gmail.com. We love hearing from everybody, so, hop into our Discord, chat with us, those of us who chat normally. And make sure to check out our Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub. And if you really enjoy us, please donate. If you donate, you get to vote on our next games, which is really awesome.
Yep. FYI, if you're listening to this as it comes out, our next game is actually already set in stone. There's no voting. But if you're listening to this in the future, I don't know what the fuck we're voting on currently, so go check it out. We're probably voting on whatever we're playing a year from now in the glorious year of our Lord 2021, under great Supreme Leader Bernie Sanders. And also I feel like Sam would want us to make sure we pitch this because of some generous donations. We also are gonna. Are Longcasts Ko-Fi donators only?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Donators. I know Bernard hates that.
I don't even go here. The problem is I looked it up, and donator is considered a real word. It's in the dictionary, so I can't even be a prescriptivist and get mad about the word donator. It's just donor is a better word.
Well, the reason it's in the dictionary is probably because people said it too many fucking times, and now we have to deal with it. Anyway, if you we have some other stuff you get access to if you donate. That I forget what it is because I'm dumb. But also, if you donate more, we play more games, and because of some generous donations, we've got a lot of cool fucking bonus games coming down the pipeline. So thank you to our donors.
I like how chaotic these sign-offs are without Sam to know what's going on.
We have it typed up. I just didn't open it in front of my computer because I didn't fucking feel like it.
Yeah, that's my problem too.
This is chaos mode.
Yeah, nothing is organized with me. It's all chaos all the time. That's just how I live my life.
Chaos, the god of destruction.
But yeah, I think that's it for RPG Book Club. I've been Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
I'm Bernard Hauk.
Toodaloo, bitches.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I'm sorry I called you bitches.
Bad.